Bonjour mes amis, hi friends. My name is Cici Chow and my pronouns are she and her. Oh, before we get going, a little bit of a content warning. Obviously today we're dealing with, some pretty heavy subject matter and stuff, but I will be talking a little bit about self-harm. There's a mention of suicide. I just wanted you to be aware so that if you need to step away, please feel free to do so. I will not be offended that you need to take care of yourself. I encourage you to do so if you need to. I love my body. Even though my body doesn't always work the way I want because she's disabled, I love her. I love my bright eyes. I love my lips and my smile that I'm told lights up a room. And if not the room, it definitely lights up my face. I love the curve of my waist and my hips. I love my small, perky breasts. I love the softness of my skin. I love my gentle, sometimes bubbly, oft sultry voice. I love my body. At least I do now. Loving my body wasn't something that I could have imagined 7 years ago. 7 years ago, I was on the verge of my soft coming out, where I'd come to tell my closest girlfriends. I feel like I channel a lot of feminine energy. Later, they replied, "Of course." And I was waiting for you when I finally came out as a trans woman to them a year after that. 7 years ago, though, I was married to a beautiful wife, parent to 2 amazing children, yet on the verge of death by suicide. I have lived on the razor's edge of life and death ever since my testosterone-driven first puberty. It's the puberty that made huge, irreversible changes to my body that wouldn't be fixed until decades later through extensive medical intervention. It is the puberty that made people stop treating me like a child and start treating me like a man. It's with that first puberty that I started to hate my body. I hated the way my brows became pronounced and bushy instead of refined and graceful. I hated the way my shoulders became broad instead of elegant. I hated the way my muscles became sinewy and chiseled instead of strong and svelte. I hated the way my larynx protruded from my neck and produced a low rumble instead of a delicate neck with dulcet tones. I went to school every day pretending to be okay with my body developing like the boys' bodies around me, only to return home to crawl back into a pit of my own self-hatred, full of faint whispers of self-destruction. I hated my body. Even so, I tried to love it. I tried so hard. I tried running. I tried soccer. I tried sprints and hurdles and long jump and high jump and 4x100 relay. I tried badminton. I tried volleyball. I even won the grade 8 Boys Athlete of the Year award. Yay. If I couldn't have agency over how my body grew, I could train it into submission, and I could train myself into being accepted by my peers. When that didn't work, I tried harder and walked closer and closer to the edge. My activities in high school and university escalated to mountain biking and snowboarding and rock climbing. That didn't work either. The darkness of the pit that started to spill over into everything everywhere. And yeah, all at once. So I tried even harder. I sauntered all the way up to the razor's edge with all the bravado I imagined a young man might have. If I couldn't have agency over my body to prevent myself from becoming a man, then maybe I could break it instead. There was no jump too big or hill too steep to ride my bike on or down. There was no mountain terrain too thick with trees or drop off too tall to ride my snowboard over. There was no street too hectic with traffic to recklessly weave my road bike through. But by a plethora of miracles, I am still here. There was that time where I crashed on my bike and that sharp tree stump grazed along my ribs instead of spearing my lungs. There was that time when I wiped out on my snowboard in the trees and a down spike of a tree tip whizzed past my face, catching me under my backpack strap instead of skewering my brain through my eye. There was that time that I almost fell down a 10-foot wide mountain crevice. Instead, I ended up on the other side on my stomach with legs dangling in the air 30 feet above a rocky demise. There were so many times. I suppose I've never tried to clean my life through any of the stereotypical ways that we tend to imagine, but I sure worked hard at putting myself into dangerous predicaments, hoping to find release from my self-hate. But more than that, I hoped for release from the judgment of my peers, my family, my sibling, and my parents. If I was to express how much I struggled living life filling boys' shoes that I'd been handing and filling the expectations of men's shoes that society insisted that I wear. As a child, I couldn't imagine a world where I didn't have to be a boy. As a young adult, I couldn't imagine a world where I didn't have to be a man. As a middle-aged spouse and parent, I couldn't imagine a world where I could keep my family while revealing my most authentic and feminine self. But, it's a very big but, at age 42, more than 3 decades after my first puberty, I caught a glimpse of a life where I didn't have to hate my body. A life where I might grow into the woman I was always meant to grow into. A life where I might even come to love myself. I set my whole life on fire for that one fleeting glimpse. I wagered it all. My career, my friends, my family, my wife, my children, all for the hope that I might live rather than find ways to die by accident. I gambled everything for the hope of finding beauty rather than darkness, for love over hate. In my transition, am I fixed? Far from it, but I'm better. Do I still wrestle with my demons every damn day? Absolutely. Am I trying to find all the reasons to live instead of ways to die, despite how much of the world seems to want the latter for us? Resoundingly, yes. Do I get overwhelmed by the darkness that lurks in the deepest recesses of my soul, fractured by a hateful world? Yes. Yet here I am, despite my past efforts to taunt and tempt fate to make me into another statistic. Here I am, saved not by my own efforts or ability, but by friend after friend after friend and a few strangers, me looking for reasons to live. Here I am, medical intervention after medical intervention, a trans woman who loves her body. Here I am, miracle after miracle after miracle, with you on the day before Trans Day of Remembrance. But we aren't all here. We've lost so many trans nieces and nephews and nibblings, sisters, brothers, siblings, and elders, lost to the hate and violence that looms around us in our schools, our workplaces, and in our governments. Lost to the darkness that lurks inside, lost because the miracles that found me didn't find them in time. We'll never be able to bring them back, but we can live. We can live on their behalf. We can live so hard that the light of our shining lives will reach them beyond this plane of existence. Allies, with your ears, hear us. With your eyes, see us. With your minds, empathize with us. With your hearts, love us. Make all the spaces around you intentionally trans-affirming spaces. Come alongside us to build a world filled with the promise of life for trans kiddos, adults, and seniors. We stand and fight. We stand and fight the systems and powers that are stacked and continue stacking up in an attempt to erase us in a trans genocide. It is the same system that attempts to erase Palestinians in genocide. It is the same powers that attempt to erase Indigenous people of Turtle Island in genocide. We stand and we fight. We build community. We make friends. We fall in love. We build families. We raise children. We thrive. We live, and those who try to blot us out will overwhelmingly and undeniably see that we will not be erased, that we cannot be erased, whether we are loud like a roaring thunder or soft like the whisper of the breeze. We live shining, bright, unashamed, and proud. We live so that our trans peers will catch that bright sliver of a glimpse of authentic life and live. Thank you.